thousands of people remain on the streets of major Israeli cities for a third day on Monday. Demonstrators are demanding the government sign a deal. Benjamin Netanyahu has just spoken on Israeli television. He's asking for forgiveness for not bringing the captives home.
I told the families, and I will say it again tonight, I apologize and ask for your forgiveness because we couldn't bring them back alive. We were close, but we failed. Let me say this again tonight. Israel will not remain silent on this massacre. Hamas will pay the price, a very high price.
Well, Akiva Eldar is a political analyst and contributor to the Israeli daily newspaper Haaretz. He joins us now from Tel Aviv. Good to have you with us. So Netanyahu, they're asking for forgiveness. Do you think most Israelis, particularly those on the streets protesting against him, are ready to give him forgiveness?
Well, Sammy, I don't forgive him. I was there yesterday. I was there today protesting, not as a journalist, but as an Israeli patriot. And they don't forgive him, first of all, because he still doesn't take the responsibility for what happened to Israel on October 7th. Number two, he is not showing us any light at the end of the tunnels of Hamas, just more soldiers and more civilians, more captives getting back home in body bags. So there is no forgiveness among those people. There is fatigue, yes. The question is, how long will those people who are taking to the streets every day, and it's quite warm, I think it's not as warm as in Doha, but it's a summer, and people in the north, including children, didn't start the school year, and they don't forgive him. And the people who spent 10 or now more than 10 months in reserves, people who lost their jobs and lost their businesses, they don't forgive him.
How much of a challenge then do you think these protests are becoming to Netanyahu? You mentioned the fatigue, but the pictures coming in, the live pictures coming in from Tel Aviv show, people are still gathering on the streets. It doesn't look like the numbers are ready to dissipate, at least right now.
Yeah, but it seems we know from recent history, you remember, Sari, when we were talking about the so-called judicial reform, that we had every weekend 500,000 people in the streets. Now, in my neighborhood, we got 20 or 30,000. Now we can hardly get 1,000 people to get out of their home. And the reason is that the Israeli politicians, mainly from the Likud and the Orthodox Party, seem to do everything they can, including robbing the budget and robbing the country's future, the future of our children, to stay in power. And people are losing hope that there will be at least 4 or 5 people from the Likud or from Shas that will not be able to look at the mirror, and they will defect. And Netanyahu, going back to him, wants to say that, because otherwise, if the war will end, and actually he compared the Philadelphia Acts to the acts of evil. So for him, he said he will never leave Gaza. He wants to stay there forever, which means that he will perpetuate the war. He knows that December 1st, he will have to stand in court and be crucified. And for him, this coalition is a lifesaver.
As you're talking, Akiva, I just want to point out, we're looking at live pictures of a protest in West Jerusalem outside the Prime Minister's residence, I'm being told. So you can see still, it looks like quite a number of people coming out onto the streets there. What do you make then? It is a bit of a game of political strategy and chess, given listening to what you were saying going on. Does the Israeli court ruling ordering an end to the strike offer a major sort of sense of relief for Netanyahu, a move that, only 24 hours ago many people were caught by surprise thinking this could be very serious for the government. Has the picture changed radically now with the court ruling?
Actually, Israel is still a democracy, yes, and when we look at the polls, the Israeli, if not this coalition, the Israeli right and radical right have the upper hand. Even if we go for elections, we will not go back to the negotiating table with the Palestinians. So people are losing hope. More and more Israelis are lining up in foreign embassies to get European or American passports and leave. And these people are the elite. And Netanyahu and his gang believe that democracy is all about elections. And as long as they have 64 mandates in the Knesset, they have the full legitimacy to rule and to send more and more youngsters to the battlefield without telling them what is the aim, what is the exit strategy of this war, what Israel wants to do with Gaza. They are not going anywhere. So, if we had a so-called normal, moral government, those images that you show from the streets will make a difference. But it seems that for Netanyahu, the alternative, which is his personal, political and personal life, is more important than the lives of the Israeli captives. And keep in mind that even if he will have a full control over the Philadelphia axis, that he turned to be a sacred interest of Israel, the people like the 6 Israeli captives that were killed in the tunnels, they are still there. And when the Hamas militants will hear the Israeli soldiers, we will not hear from those captives that they are holding in the tunnels.
Okay, so if you're saying there the streets might not make that much a difference, what about the splits within the government, particularly between the security establishment and the Prime Minister? It's not new, of course. There have been reports of tensions, but the latest statements by Yoav Gallant, the Minister of Defense, talking about Netanyahu's position and insistence on keeping Israeli troops in the Philadelphia corridor. I mean, those comments they look like they're designed particularly to be targeted against the Prime Minister he's supposed to be serving under. How serious is that?
Actually, Netanyahu has managed to corner Gallant and to exclude him from the Likud. And we all know that he's got no political future. And Netanyahu got a majority in the cabinet, and he proved that, Gallant and what he believes is the security gang, the head of the Mossad. It's not only Gallant, it's the entire security administration, the chief of staff, the head of the Mossad and Shin Bet, who support Gallant, and they keep telling journalists off the record, but in the cabinet's meeting, they speak out and they say, you have to make a decision. If you want to execute, at least we have 30 and 40 other captives alive, say it loud. Don't tell us that we will bring them back home just with more pressure on the Hamas. No, the Hamas knows that these people are their only bargaining chip. And if I was Sinwar, I would keep them. He knows that otherwise, Netanyahu will even be able to send back settlers to Gaza if Ben-Gvir and Smotrich will keep pushing him and putting him to the corner.
All right, thank you so much for your thoughts and analysis on that. Akiva Eldar, political analyst.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.